according to one of the former children, now an adult, the former child, now an adult, who was adopted out of Antonio's placement center, that is notably a corrupt orphanage. Okay, this is, and she's referring to Antonio's placement center. Just to make it clear for you guys, Everyday Heroes is her 501c3, and then they do various projects. This was called the Romanian Angels Project, and they did this. The Romanian Angels, so to speak, were living at Antonio's placement center in Constanta, Romania, where our base was. And I'm going to read you this email from someone who was placed from the Antonio Placement Center.
For months, the internet mocked the rumors surrounding Erika Kirk and the so-called Romanian Angels controversy as just another viral conspiracy. Until now. Because a person claiming to be a former resident connected to the Romanian Angels charity project has allegedly come forward with statements that are sending social media into complete chaos, and according to online commentators, their claims may completely change the way people view Erika's past overseas work. The alleged survivor didn't accuse Erika of directly committing crimes. But what they did claim has the internet spiraling. According to resurfaced emails and online discussions surrounding the controversy, the former resident allegedly described Erika as one of the most feared people around the organization, claiming her presence carried influence, authority, and connections that made everyone uncomfortable. Now social media is exploding because people are connecting those allegations to older clips, leaked screenshots, charity partnerships, Romanian orphanage controversies, and even comments previously made by Candace Owens. And suddenly, videos many people laughed at months ago are being re-watched very differently. Especially after internet investigators allegedly discovered connections between controversial orphanage systems, modeling agency discussions, political contacts, and people whose names reportedly appeared around wider Epstein-related reporting and online speculation. None of it has been proven criminally in court. But that hasn't stopped the internet from asking one terrifying question. Why do the same names keep appearing in the same circles over and over again? And according to people following the story online, the alleged survivor statements may only be the beginning of a much bigger controversy nobody saw coming. Long before the internet started dissecting every old interview, charity clip, and leaked screenshot connected to Erika Kirk, the Romanian Angels project was publicly presented as something completely different. On the surface, it looked inspiring. Photos of children receiving gifts, holiday charity events, volunteers smiling for cameras, American sponsors helping overseas orphan programs. To casual viewers online, it looked like one more international humanitarian project connected to faith, outreach, and helping vulnerable children. But according to people now revisiting the story online, the internet believes there may have been far more happening behind the scenes than the public originally understood. And honestly, that's why this controversy exploded so aggressively. Because the moment children, orphanages, overseas programs, and powerful public figures become connected inside the same narrative, people immediately start asking questions. Especially after years of scandals involving powerful institutions around the world. According to resurfaced online discussions, Romanian Angels was reportedly connected to outreach efforts involving orphan placement centers in Romania during the late 2000s and early 2010s. That's where the controversy begins. Because Romania's orphanage system has faced criticism for decades from journalists, activists, and international observers over transparency issues, institutional conditions, and historical corruption concerns tied to child welfare systems after the fall of communism. Once internet investigators rediscovered those broader historical issues, they started revisiting every person connected to projects operating inside those environments, including Erika. Then came the alleged survivor statements. A person claiming to have once lived inside one of the placement systems connected to discussions surrounding the Romanian Angels project allegedly sent messages to online commentators describing the institution as deeply troubling and emotionally damaging. Now, importantly, many of these claims remain unverified publicly. But emotionally? The internet latched onto them instantly. Because the alleged testimony described fear, institutional pressure, confusion surrounding diagnoses, and an atmosphere the writer claimed felt deeply uncomfortable growing up inside the system. And according to conspiracy-focused communities online, the most shocking part wasn't just the allegations themselves. It was the way Erika's name allegedly kept appearing around the story. That's when older clips and archived content started resurfacing again. Videos showing Erika overseas. Photos from charity events. Public thank you messages involving military personnel and local organizers. At first glance, most of it looked ordinary. But once internet investigators started analyzing timelines and connections, ordinary stopped feeling ordinary to a lot of viewers. Then another name entered the controversy. Candace Owens. Because months earlier, Candace had already publicly questioned parts of Erika's background and overseas connections during online commentary and live stream discussions. At the time, many people dismissed the claims as internet drama. But after the alleged survivor statements surfaced, viewers started returning to those older clips asking, was Candace seeing something earlier than everyone else? That question alone sent social media into overdrive. TikTok creators started building timeline breakdowns. YouTube live streams dissected every archived interview. Twitter users reposted screenshots, clips, and old statements non-stop. And the deeper people dug, the stranger the online narrative became. Then came the military base controversy. According to resurfaced allegations discussed online, individuals connected to Romanian operations during that era allegedly described environments involving inappropriate behavior, blurred boundaries, and questionable oversight surrounding certain overseas social circles. Again, none of this has been proven as criminal conduct by Erika herself. But conspiracy communities online began treating every overlap, meeting, and connection like part of one giant hidden network. That's how the story escalated so quickly. Especially once names connected to modeling agencies and Epstein-related controversies started appearing in online discussions too. Now publicly, there is no verified evidence proving Erika participated in Epstein crimes. But internet investigators became obsessed with what they called the same circles. That phrase spread everywhere online. Because conspiracy communities started arguing that powerful people repeatedly moving around the same social, charity, business, and political environments could not simply be coincidence. That argument became the emotional core of the controversy. Not hard proof. Patterns. Perceived patterns. And once audiences emotionally buy into a pattern narrative, every new coincidence feels explosive. That's exactly what happened here. People started revisiting old partnerships, business associations, charity promotions, overseas trips, and social relationships through a completely different lens. Then came the leaked screenshot controversy. Archived messages allegedly involving people connected to Romania, nightlife, modeling circles, and political contacts resurfaced online and instantly became viral fuel. Some viewers saw them as meaningless bragging. Others believed they revealed an atmosphere of excess and inappropriate behavior surrounding certain overseas networks during that time period. Again, interpretation became everything. And social media thrives on interpretation, especially when mystery, secrecy, and famous names are involved. Meanwhile, supporters of Erika strongly pushed back against the conspiracy wave, arguing that the internet was unfairly turning charity work, international outreach, and social overlaps into sinister narratives without evidence. That created another massive split online. One side argued, there are too many strange connections. The other side responded, the internet is inventing a conspiracy. The arguments became vicious, especially because children were involved emotionally in the broader discussion surrounding orphanage systems and survivor claims. That emotional weight made the story spread even faster. Then another disturbing reality emerged. Media analysts pointed out that modern conspiracy culture often grows by combining real institutions, genuine historical scandals, public distrust, partial truths, and emotional storytelling into narratives that feel overwhelmingly convincing even when evidence remains incomplete. That observation perfectly described what was happening online around Romanian angels. Because by this point, the story had evolved far beyond one charity project. Now it represented something much larger to audiences online. The fear that powerful people operate inside hidden systems ordinary people never fully see. And according to conspiracy-focused communities, the alleged survivor statements were only the first crack in a much darker story that still hasn't fully surfaced yet. The moment the alleged survivor statements started circulating online, the entire Romanian Angels controversy exploded into something much bigger than ordinary internet drama. Because suddenly this wasn't just about Erika Kirk anymore. Now the internet believed it might be looking at a hidden network of overlapping connections involving orphanage systems, overseas charity work, political figures, modeling industry contacts, and people linked through broader Epstein-related speculation online. That combination was like gasoline on social media. TikTok creators started building evidence boards. YouTube channels posted hour-long investigations. Twitter threads connected screenshots, archived interviews, travel timelines, and leaked messages into giant conspiracy maps. And once audiences emotionally locked into the mystery, every new detail suddenly felt dangerous. Then came the first major twist. Several online commentators claimed the alleged survivor wasn't just criticizing the orphanage system itself. According to reposted emails and live-stream discussions, the person allegedly described Erika's presence around the organization as intimidating and deeply influential, not because of direct criminal accusations, but because they felt people around her acted differently whenever she was involved. That subtle distinction changed the emotional tone completely. Because internet audiences immediately started filling in blanks themselves. And honestly, that's exactly how conspiracy narratives become powerful online. Direct accusations are risky. Implication is stronger emotionally. The moment viewers start connecting dots themselves, the story becomes more believable to them psychologically. That's what happened here. Then older Romanian Angels footage resurfaced again. Clips showing charity events, holiday donations, military acknowledgements, smiling children, group photos. At first glance, the videos looked harmless. But once conspiracy-focused communities started analyzing them frame by frame, people online claimed the atmosphere suddenly felt off. Again, not evidence. Emotion. That emotional reframing became everything. Because audiences were no longer watching the clips as charity footage. Now they were watching them like investigators searching for hidden truth. Then came another escalation. Internet users rediscovered old statements involving military contacts, overseas coordination, and political introductions tied loosely to the same Romania era. That's when online discussions started spiraling toward questions about influence and access. How did these people all know each other? Why do the same names keep appearing? Who introduced who? Those questions flooded comment sections everywhere. And then the Tyler Boyer controversy resurfaced again. Archived screenshots allegedly describing Romania trips, nightlife stories, and strange encounters went viral all over again after creators connected them back to the same timeline surrounding Romanian Angels. Suddenly social media became obsessed with overlapping timelines. Romania. Military contacts. Modeling circles. Political figures. The internet started treating every overlap like hidden evidence. And once the Epstein angle entered discussions again, the algorithm completely exploded. Because according to online investigators, several names connected loosely through fashion, modeling, and social circles had already appeared repeatedly in wider Epstein-related reporting and online speculation. Now publicly. That does not prove criminal involvement. But online conspiracy communities became convinced they were uncovering elite patterns. That phrase started trending heavily across discussion forums and live streams. Then came another major twist. Several creators began focusing on the orphanage system itself rather than Erika personally. They highlighted real historical criticism involving Romania's institutional child welfare systems after the fall of communism, including international reporting about corruption, poor oversight, and problematic adoption practices during earlier decades. That historical context made the online conspiracy narrative feel much more believable emotionally. Because now audiences weren't imagining corruption from nowhere. They were connecting existing historical concerns to modern internet theories. That's a very powerful storytelling structure, especially online. Then the emotional center of the controversy shifted again. The alleged survivor statement started spreading far beyond conspiracy communities and entered mainstream commentary circles online. And once ordinary viewers started reading emotional descriptions involving fear, confusion, and institutional pressure, the atmosphere around the story became much darker. People stopped treating it like entertainment. At least temporarily. Because once children become emotionally connected to a narrative, audiences react differently. That emotional weight made the controversy feel serious even to people skeptical of the larger conspiracy claims. Meanwhile, supporters of Erika pushed back aggressively. They argued no verified evidence connected her to criminal activity. Internet investigators were creating guilt through association. And conspiracy creators were weaponizing unrelated overlaps into sensational content for views. That backlash created another massive divide online. One side believed there are too many coincidences. The other side argued this is internet paranoia destroying people's lives. The debates became brutal, especially after Candace Owens' clip started resurfacing everywhere again. Because many viewers now believed Candace had been warning people earlier than the mainstream internet. Her older commentary suddenly gained millions of new views as audiences revisited every statement searching for clues they might have missed before. That made the controversy even bigger politically. Now the story wasn't only about Romania anymore. It became about media trust, elite networks, institutional secrecy, and whether internet investigators uncover truths traditional media ignores. That emotional framing massively increased engagement. Then came the most explosive twist so far. Several online creators claimed they had spoken privately with additional people allegedly familiar with the Romanian systems connected to the controversy. No verified identities were confirmed publicly. No official evidence was released. But emotionally, the impact online was enormous. Because audiences interpreted the possibility of more witnesses as validation. And once viewers emotionally feel validation, the conspiracy narrative becomes extremely difficult to stop. That's exactly what happened here. Suddenly every silence from Erika became suspicious to critics online. Every refusal to engage became proof to conspiracy audiences. Every unanswered question became another mystery. Meanwhile, fact-checkers and journalists kept warning that internet speculation was rapidly outpacing verified evidence. But corrections rarely spread as fast as emotionally shocking content. That's the reality of modern algorithms. Especially when stories involve children, charities, elites, politics, secrecy, and famous names. Then came another disturbing realization. Some media analysts began arguing the Romanian Angels controversy represented something much bigger than Erika Kirk herself. To them, it exposed how internet culture now builds giant conspiracy ecosystems from partial truths, historical scandals, emotional testimony, social overlap, and public distrust, all blended together into narratives audiences experience almost like interactive documentaries. And honestly, that perfectly describes why this story exploded. Because by now, millions of viewers no longer felt like spectators. They felt like investigators. And according to online conspiracy communities, the deeper people kept digging into Romania, charity connections, and overlapping elite circles, the closer they believed they were getting to something the public was never supposed to uncover. After the Romanian Angels controversy exploded online, the internet stopped treating the story like simple influencer drama. Now people were talking about something far darker. The possibility that charity networks, political connections, social elites, and historical institutional failures could all overlap inside the same hidden ecosystem. And once that narrative took over social media, Everything escalated fast. TikTok creators started posting giant connection timelines. YouTube channels built full documentary-style breakdowns linking Romania, orphanage systems, modeling industry names, political contacts, military references, and Epstein-related speculation into one sprawling conspiracy map. The algorithm loved it, because emotionally, the story had every element that keeps audiences glued to screens. Children, mystery, hidden networks, powerful people, leaked screenshots, alleged survivors, and unanswered questions. That combination became internet wildfire. Then came the next major escalation. Several creators began focusing heavily on the idea of patterns, not proof. Patterns? That distinction mattered psychologically, because conspiracy-focused communities online repeatedly argued. Individually, each connection means nothing. Together, they look impossible to ignore. That line spread everywhere. Suddenly viewers started analyzing. Who met who? Who traveled where? Who appeared in photos together? Who worked in overlapping circles? And who allegedly knew the same people? The internet transformed into a giant digital detective board. And once audiences emotionally commit to that style of thinking, every coincidence starts feeling intentional. That's exactly what happened here. Then old Romanian Angels clips resurfaced again. This time, people weren't watching them casually. They were studying them. Facial expressions, background details, conversations, military acknowledgements. Everything became evident to conspiracy audiences. Again, no verified proof emerged from those clips themselves. But emotionally, the atmosphere online kept getting darker. Especially after creators repeatedly connected the controversy to broader public distrust surrounding elite institutions after the Epstein scandal. That connection changed everything. Because Epstein permanently altered how many people view powerful social circles. Audiences now assume hidden networks are possible. So when they see overlapping names, social relationships, or repeated associations, their minds immediately jump toward suspicion. That's why the Romanian Angels story spread so aggressively. Not because audiences had proof, but because they already believed secrecy among elites was believable. Then came another shocking twist. Several online commentators began arguing the real story wasn't necessarily Erika herself, but the larger systems surrounding international charities, institutional oversight, and vulnerable children. That shifted the emotional focus completely. Suddenly people started discussing how orphan systems operate, how international charities are monitored, who oversees partnerships, and whether vulnerable populations are properly protected. For a brief moment, the internet conversation became less about celebrity-style conspiracy and more about institutional distrust generally. But that didn't last long. Because then the same circles, theory returned stronger than ever. Online investigators started revisiting old modeling industry connections linked through broader Epstein reporting and public controversies. Again, no verified evidence tied Erika directly to criminal wrongdoing involving Epstein. But conspiracy communities became obsessed with the idea that powerful social environments overlap repeatedly through charities, politics, fashion, real estate, entertainment, and international networking. That narrative became emotionally overwhelming for many viewers, especially younger audiences discovering these topics primarily through TikTok and YouTube rather than traditional journalism. Then another disturbing trend emerged. People started treating speculation like collaborative storytelling. One creator would post a theory. Another would connect it to older clips. Another would create timelines. Another would add screenshots. And suddenly entire online communities built giant narratives together in real time. That's what made the Romanian Angels controversy feel so massive online. It wasn't just one video anymore. it became a constantly expanding internet mythology. Meanwhile, supporters of Erika continued strongly denying the implications surrounding the controversy, arguing that conspiracy creators were building defamatory narratives through guilt by association tactics rather than evidence. That backlash created another huge split online. One side argued, "Too many overlaps can't be random." The other side responded, "You're turning coincidences into fantasy." The debates became vicious, especially once alleged insider sources started appearing across live streams and anonymous social media accounts claiming to know more about Romanian systems and elite social circles. Most identities remained unverifiable publicly. But emotionally, audiences treated the stories as major developments. Because once people emotionally buy into a hidden network theory, every anonymous source suddenly feels important. Then came the biggest reveal of all. Several media analysts studying conspiracy culture argued that the Romanian Angels story perfectly demonstrated how modern internet narratives evolve. Not through one smoking gun, but through accumulation. Tiny details, overlapping names, historical scandals, emotional testimony, visual symbolism, public distrust, all layered together repeatedly until audiences emotionally feel like they're seeing a hidden truth. That observation changed how many viewers interpreted the controversy entirely. Because suddenly people realized the internet itself may be shaping the story faster than evidence ever could. And honestly, that may be the most unsettling part of all. Not whether every conspiracy is true or false, but how quickly millions of people can become emotionally convinced by patterns, atmosphere, and suspicion alone. Still, despite all the warnings from journalists and researchers, the conspiracy wave surrounding Romanian Angels kept growing. Because every unanswered question created another mystery. Every silence created another theory. Every resurfaced clip created another clue. And according to online communities still digging through archived footage, screenshots, and old charity materials, they believe the public has only seen the surface of what might eventually come out. Whether that's true or not, the internet is now fully convinced this story is far from over. The internet reaction to the Romanian Angels controversy was absolute chaos. Within days, social media became flooded with clips, timelines, reaction videos, and conspiracy threads centered around Erika Kirk, alleged survivor statements, and resurfaced discussions connected to Romania. TikTok creators were posting hourly updates. YouTube live streams stretched for hours. Twitter threads exploded with screenshots, archived clips, and hidden connection theories. And suddenly, what started as a niche online controversy turned into one of the most emotionally charged internet debates of the year. But what made the situation especially explosive was how deeply divided people became. One side believed the allegations and overlapping connections deserved serious investigation. The other side argued the internet was building a dangerous conspiracy narrative around incomplete evidence and guilt by association logic. That conflict made engagement skyrocket. One viral post read, "You don't get this many strange overlaps by accident." Another responded, "The internet has completely lost the ability to separate suspicion from proof." Those arguments spread everywhere. And honestly, that's why the story kept growing. Because it tapped directly into modern internet culture's biggest emotional trigger: distrust of powerful systems. Especially systems involving children, institutions, charities, politics, and elite social circles. Then came the reactions surrounding Candace Owens. Many viewers suddenly started treating Candace's older commentary as if she had been warning people long before the controversy exploded publicly. Old livestream clips resurfaced everywhere. Comment sections flooded with messages like, "She was trying to tell us. Everybody laughed at her before. This changes everything." That shift massively boosted the visibility of the story online, especially among audiences already skeptical of mainstream media narratives. Meanwhile, Critics pushed back aggressively, arguing that conspiracy-focused creators were using emotional survivor language, unrelated social overlaps, and speculative storytelling techniques to construct narratives that feel true without verified evidence. That debate became intense. Because emotionally, the story was powerful. Children. Fear. Institutional distrust. Possible hidden networks. Those themes naturally trigger strong emotional reactions in audiences. And social media algorithms reward emotional intensity above almost everything else. That's why every new clue instantly exploded. Then the modeling industry angle started dominating conversations again. Online investigators revisited old discussions involving Eastern European modeling networks, social circles surrounding wealthy elites, and broader Epstein-related reporting. Again, there was no verified evidence proving Erika herself committed crimes connected to those networks. But conspiracy communities focused heavily on what they called repeating environments. The phrase became viral. According to those online theories, the same categories of people allegedly kept appearing around: charities, modeling circles, wealthy networks, political contacts, and overseas influence structures. Whether audiences believed it or not, the emotional narrative became extremely compelling online. Then came another major reaction shift. Some viewers who originally mocked the conspiracy theories started admitting they felt uncomfortable after learning more about real historical corruption issues surrounding certain orphanage systems and institutional failures in Romania's past. That historical context gave emotional weight to the controversy. Because now the internet wasn't imagining corruption entirely from nowhere. It was layering conspiracy narratives on top of genuine historical distrust. That combination became incredibly powerful psychologically. Meanwhile, fact-checkers and journalists repeatedly warned audiences that online conspiracy ecosystems often combine real historical problems, emotional testimony, social overlaps, and selective evidence into giant narratives that can spiral far beyond what facts actually support. But those warnings struggled to compete emotionally against dramatic storytelling. Especially once creators started presenting the controversy like an unfolding Netflix-style investigation. And perhaps the most fascinating reaction of all came from younger audiences. Many Gen Z viewers became deeply invested in the idea that hidden elite networks operate behind celebrity culture and international institutions. To them, Romanian angels didn't feel like a random controversy. It felt like another piece of a much larger puzzle. That perception alone kept the story alive. Because once audiences emotionally believe there may be hidden systems operating behind public life, they start reinterpreting everything through suspicion. That's exactly what happened here. Old photos became evidence. Silence became proof. Archived clips became warnings. Every unanswered question became another mystery. And the more mysterious the story became, the more viral it got. Meanwhile, supporters of Erika continued insisting the controversy was built almost entirely on speculation and internet pattern-seeking rather than verified criminal findings. But by this point, public opinion online had already fractured into completely different realities. One side believed the internet uncovered something real. The other side believed the internet created a conspiracy monster. And somewhere in the middle sat millions of viewers who honestly didn't know what to believe anymore. That confusion may actually be the biggest reason the controversy keeps spreading. Because uncertainty creates obsession. People keep watching because they feel like the next clip, the next leak, or the next statement might finally reveal the truth. And according to online communities still digging through old Romanian angels content, they believe the biggest revelation may not have surfaced yet. Which leaves the internet asking one terrifying question. If this controversy already exploded this badly from archived clips, survivor allegations, and online speculation, what happens if verified evidence or new insiders ever emerge publicly next? Just when people thought the Romanian angels controversy couldn't possibly get any bigger, another disturbing shift changed the conversation entirely. Because now, the internet isn't only asking questions about Erika Kirk anymore. People are questioning the entire system surrounding international charities, institutional oversight, elite networking, and how internet investigations can spiral into global conspiracy movements almost overnight. And honestly, that may be the scariest part of this entire story. Not necessarily what's proven, but how quickly millions of people became emotionally convinced something hidden must exist behind the scenes. Especially after alleged survivor statements, archived clips, old screenshots, and overlapping social connections all collided online at the same time. That emotional collision created the perfect storm. And once the algorithm noticed audiences watching longer, commenting harder, and obsessively sharing theories, the controversy exploded beyond anyone's control. Then came the twist nobody expected. Several media analysts studying online conspiracy culture argued that the Romanian Angels story wasn't spreading primarily because of hard evidence. It was spreading because it activated multiple emotional fears simultaneously. Fear for children, distrust of elites, suspicion toward institutions, anger at hidden power structures, and the belief that ordinary people are constantly being lied to. That combination is incredibly powerful psychologically. Because once audiences emotionally feel like they're uncovering hidden truth, they stop behaving like passive viewers. They become investigators. That's exactly what happened here. Millions of people started building timelines, analyzing old videos, comparing screenshots, searching archives, and connecting social relationships. Like they were solving a giant mystery together. The internet transformed the controversy into collaborative storytelling in real time. And once that happens, the narrative becomes almost impossible to stop. Then another disturbing trend emerged. Anonymous accounts claiming insider knowledge started appearing everywhere online. Some claimed connections to Romanian systems. Others claimed ties to charity environments. A few even alleged they had additional information that hadn't been released yet. Now publicly? Most of these identities and claims remain impossible to verify. But emotionally, that barely mattered anymore. Because by this point, audiences were no longer driven mainly by proof. They were driven by suspicion. And suspicion spreads fast online. Especially once people begin interpreting silence itself as evidence. That became one of the biggest problems surrounding the controversy. Every refusal to respond publicly created more speculation. Every missing detail became another theory. Every unanswered question became another rabbit hole. Meanwhile, supporters of Erika kept insisting the internet was building a giant narrative through implication and emotional storytelling rather than confirmed criminal findings. But conspiracy communities pushed back hard. They argued, patterns matter. Too many overlaps exist. People are finally speaking. That emotional battle completely fractured audiences. And somewhere inside all the chaos, the original alleged survivor statements still haunted people most. Because regardless of what's true or false, those emotional descriptions involving fear, institutional pressure, and confusion gave the entire controversy a human center audiences couldn't ignore. That's why the story keeps spreading. Not just because of famous names. Because emotionally, people feel vulnerable children may have been failed by larger systems. And once audiences emotionally connect children to secrecy and powerful networks, the internet becomes almost impossible to calm down afterward. Then came another massive realization. Some researchers argued the Romanian Angels controversy may actually represent the future of internet investigations generally. Not traditional journalism. Not verified reporting. But giant online communities crowdsourcing theories together using archived media, screenshots, public records, social overlap, historical scandals, and emotional narratives, all blended into one constantly evolving story. That observation terrified some experts, because it means future controversies may spread globally long before facts can ever catch up. And honestly, that already seems to be happening here. Because now the controversy has evolved far beyond one charity project in Romania. It has become symbolic online of something much larger. The fear that hidden systems of influence exist around powerful people while ordinary audiences struggle to know what's actually true anymore. That fear keeps the story alive. Every resurfaced clip restarts the conversation. Every new live stream creates another theory. Every old connection becomes another clue. And according to online investigators still obsessively digging through archives, interviews, and old Romania-related materials, they believe the public has only seen the beginning. Whether that belief is justified or not, the emotional momentum surrounding this controversy now feels unstoppable. Which leaves one final terrifying possibility hanging over everything. If alleged survivor stories, archived screenshots, and internet speculation alone created this much chaos, what happens if a verified insider, official investigation, or documented evidence ever emerges publicly in the future? And honestly, this entire Romanian Angels controversy feels bigger than just one internet scandal now. What started as resurfaced clips, archived screenshots, and alleged survivor statements connected to Erika Kirk has turned into one of the most divisive online debates surrounding charities, elite circles, and institutional trust that the internet has seen in a long time. Because at this point, people aren't just debating Erika anymore. They are debating whether powerful networks hide uncomfortable truths, whether online investigators are uncovering real problems, or whether conspiracy culture has completely blurred the line between suspicion and evidence. And that's why this story exploded the way it did. Children, Romania, charities, politics, modeling circles, elite connections. Those themes trigger emotional reactions fast. Especially after years of public distrust surrounding powerful institutions and high-profile scandals connected to influential people. But now I want to know what you think. Do you believe the internet is connecting too many unrelated dots together? Or do you think the Romanian Angels controversy raises legitimate questions that deserve deeper investigation? And what about the alleged survivor statements? Do you think they changed the conversation completely? Or do you believe social media is turning speculation into something much bigger than the facts actually support? Drop your honest thoughts down in the comments because this debate has completely divided the internet right now. Also, if you made it this far, hit the like button and subscribe because this story keeps evolving every single day. New clips, new live streams, new reactions, new theories. Anything could surface next. And if more verified information, public responses, or official developments connected to the Romanian Angels controversy emerge, you already know we'll break down every twist, every reaction, and every new detail right here.